P. Diddy's daughters and his family walked out of the courtroom as the Cassie video that went viral gets brought up, and also the testimony of the worker that Diddy hired gets brought up. And not only that, apparently P. Diddy's looking very resilient as he sits with this super team of defense attorneys. I want to show you guys these videos as I dive deeper into hearing about this case and what's going on, try to keep up with it. But I thought this was pretty crazy that his daughters actually walked out during this playing of the Cassie video and speaking about things that he's done. Let's check this out real quick.
Diddy's trial just started, and within minutes, his own daughters got up and walked out of the courtroom. And here's why. I'm going to avoid as many triggering words as I can so this does not get taken down. Here goes. So it starts with testimony from Daniel Phillip, a former escort who says Diddy paid him to be with Cassie while he watched from the corner. Yep, you heard that right. And as soon as the details got graphic, his daughters, all 18 and sitting next to his mother, got up and left the room. They came back, but the moment the testimony kept going, they dipped again. And that's just the beginning. Phillip also told the jury that he heard Diddy beating Cassie in the other room during one of these setups and dragging her by the hair for saying the words, "Hold on." And remember the elevator assault from 2016? Yep, that was shown to the jury too. The same video Diddy allegedly paid $100,000 to bury. The guard later testified that Diddy handed him a stack of cash topped with a $100 bill and said, "Take care of this and don't tell anyone." This was all on day one, and tomorrow, Cassie herself is expected to take the stand as pregnant as she is after years of alleged physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. From courtroom walkouts to buried footage, this trial is unearthing everything.
I don't think there's any way that Diddy's going to be able to get out of being charged for what he did to Cassie. I believe that there's no way you can get out of that. The evidence is right there. I do believe that his defense attorneys are going to accept that. They would rather him take a plea deal for that than to face some of the charges, racketeering charges, trafficking charges that he's being faced with. I think that the other charge is way less severe than what he's being faced with. But this is a lady talking about how Diddy appears to be resilient, and he's showing up as someone who is confident in his defense. Let's check this out real quick.
Diddy has been described by the people in the courtroom as super engaged, nodding along to the jurors that he likes, laughing at their jokes. We had an interesting moment where a reporter from Fox 5 said that Diddy turned around and she's pregnant and that he mouthed to her, "How are you?" So he's putting on the charm.
He's obviously a very charismatic person. He has been a celebrity for a very long time. He knows how to ingratiate himself with people. I don't know that it's necessarily a put on. I think that's just how he is, and he's just maybe being himself. He definitely wants to build rapport. He wants them to see him as another human being who is in a tough situation. And I think, look, he should rely on the charisma that has, served him well for many, many years.
I think that's part of his plan. Definitely.
This lady right here that I'm about to show you, she went to the courthouse. I think it was the day before the first trial began. So before yesterday, during the first day of the official trial, she went there, spent 8 hours in the courtroom hearing the jurors and watching Diddy and his lawyers and the prosecutors. And she's going to give her opinion on the defense attorneys that are for P. Diddy and how great of a team he built and how much money he spent to get this team. I think it was, I don't even know how much it was, but it was a lot of money. But let's check this out real quick.
But all of them do have a presence about them. They know what they're doing. They're likable. They're the popular kids. One legal expert describes the team as, "I'm looking at the team, especially on the first day of jury selection. It seems like they've got people who are experts in their own kind of general areas. I think the team that Diddy has put together are some heavy hitters in their own rights, and they're working together as such." But maybe, at least for this past week, maybe the most important person on Diddy's team is Linda Moreno, the jury consultant. She's here to help decide which jurors would be the most advantageous for Diddy. And again, we don't really get to, like the prosecutor, we're gonna cover it all. This is not like me just talking about Diddy's team. It's just there were not as many notable moments, and I think we won't really understand what angle they're going for until the opening statements. Now, one attorney completely unrelated to all of this, slightly controversial, bizarrely comments. Generally speaking, I mean, there's all these other small things you can do to find the right juror. The heavy, rounded face, happy-looking person is the most desirable. The undesirable juror is quite the slight, underweight, delicate type. Features are going to be sharp and fragile, and he's got a very lean look. The athletic juror is hard to categorize. Usually he is hard to convince, but once he's convinced, he will go all the way with you. As for Linda Moreno, she's a juror expert on anti-Muslim bias in American jury trials. The trial of Nora Salman, the widow of the Pulse nightclub shooter, Linda Moreno got her acquitted. That was the first complete acquittal of terrorism charges in America since 9/11. Now, without getting too much into her cases, at least not in this moment, she does have a fascinating way of picking jurors. For example, in one case, she was representing a client that was charged with explosives. She says it's all about picking a jury. So in that particular trial, one prospective juror talked about how her brother had served in Iraq and how she had grew up in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. A lot of people on the defense team wanted to get rid of this juror because you're dealing with explosive charges. This is not good. There's going to be a lack of understanding there. They don't want her on the jury, but Linda Moreno wants to keep her. She's saying she had a clear, strong voice, suggesting that she thought about a lot of things. And something she said really impressed me. You would have to live through the war in Vietnam to understand why people did what they did. She said, we're keeping her. She was firm. She said, if selected, she's going to have the sensitivity to put herself in other people's shoes. That juror was one of the 5 leading the jury to an acquittal.
That is so fascinating. I feel like nobody talks about like the deeper level of what these people will determine.
Oh, we're going to get into different, they have different methods.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, just you wait. So one person describes Linda as having a very gentle persistence that makes a huge difference. She does seem gentle. She's an older woman now. She seems very slender. She had on giant pearls, a pearl necklace. I mean, I think she must have been very successful in her career because those pearls were crazy. Yeah, they looked beautiful. Definitely not as strong as a presence, but maybe that's intentional. Maybe she wants to fly under the radar so she can analyze jurors without them feeling like she's analyzing them. And they're focused on the other attorneys so she can just watch.
I know a lot of y'all probably know how a jury trial works. I'm not as well versed in juries and all that, but from what it looks like, it looks like the judge is more of a moderator of the trial, and the jury team is going to be the ones that actually make the verdict on this case. And that may actually work in P. Diddy's favor if he can get the jury team to see his point of view. And that's what the defense attorneys are trying to do. But this right here says a jury trial is a trial in which the verdict is decided by a jury rather than a judge. It's a legal proceeding where both sides of an issue present evidence to a group of people who would decide the case. These people are called jurors or the jury. Jury. That's a weird word. The jurors listen carefully to all the evidence presented by both sides and then decide if someone is guilty or not guilty of whatever crimes they're being charged with. In general, a jury trial is a fair way to determine guilt or innocence. Jurors are an important part of the American legal system. The trials protect the rights of the accused. Jurors help ensure that justice is served. Jury trials are an important check on government power. So the lady that spent 8 hours at the trial watching the jurors, watching the defense attorneys, the prosecutors, Diddy, the judge, the jury selector, she's saying that he has a tough team with him. And they are going to try to lessen the verdict as much as possible. And some of the people on that team are really good. I know one of the guys that sits next to P. Diddy, he got the best scenario for Young Thug in his case. Young Thug could have been put away for a long time. That lawyer got Young Thug 40 years. He pled guilty to racketeering, got 40 years, and the time served, he served 5 years in there already, and the rest of the time is spent on probation. So he's released from jail. He doesn't have to be in prison, and he's going to be on probation for the rest of the time. And for a RICO charge, being guilty of a RICO charge, that is one of the best scenarios you can have. And so these are the type of people that Diddy has on his team. So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. but it's not going to be just a easy case saying, oh, Diddy's guilty of all this. No, they're going to fight. And, you know, they're going to do their best to get him less time than what, you know, the prosecutors want to give. I don't know if this is going to be a R. Kelly case where R. Kelly's in prison for a long time, or Bill Cosby. I don't know, but it's going to be it's interesting. It definitely is interesting. I know today is going to be Cassie speaking on what, you know, everything that she went through, and I will be listening to that, and I'll update you guys on how that goes. But yeah, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. The trial's here, and in the next 40 days, we're going to figure out what's going on. And yeah, man, this is wild. This is wild. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. All right, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and hit the post notification bell so you do not miss another video. I post tons of videos about current events and things happening in the Christian faith, and I give all my videos from a Christian perspective. My name is Aaron Page. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Until next time, I'm out.